In this video, we'll be solving absolute value inequalities, but the solutions end up being no solution or the identity, which is an infinite number of solutions. Everything that we've learned about absolute value inequalities is still the same. The first thing we want to do is isolate the absolute value portion of the inequality. I'm going to start by subtracting 8 from both sides. This gives us 3 times the absolute value of y is strictly greater than -6. Next, we'll divide both sides of our inequality by 3. We get the absolute value of y is strictly greater than -2. For the first time, when we've isolated this absolute value part of the inequality, we have a negative number on the other side. When you have a negative number on the other side of your inequality, you don't want to actually use the property. You just want to stop and think for a moment. What is this saying? We know that absolute value is distance away from 0. So this is saying when is the distance away from 0 more than -2. Well, let's think about how we treat distance. Do we talk about distance in terms of a negative number? No. Distance is always 0 or a positive number. So when is the distance away from 0 more than -2? Always. Always, because distance is a positive number. So our solution is going to be every number that's out there. The way that we write that in interval notation is going to be -infinity to +infinity. The way that we would state that in set builder notation, we'll start our set builder as we always do, the set of all y such that, and now in our condition is going to be y is all real numbers. So I'm going to write the set of all y such that y is a real number. Because the distance away from 0 is always greater than -2. Now let's solve the absolute value of 4x plus 7 plus 6 is less than or equal to 5. Again, we want to start by isolating the absolute value. So let's subtract 6 from both sides. This gives us the absolute value of 4x plus 7 is less than or equal to -1. Again, we've isolated the absolute value and we have a negative on the other side. So we want to stop and think. This says the distance away from 0 is less than or equal to -1. When is distance away from 0 less than or equal to -1? We just discussed that we always talk about distance in terms of a positive number or possibly 0. So when is the distance away from 0 less than or equal to -1? Never. And it's because distance is always positive. Distance is always positive, and numbers that are less than or equal to -1 are only negative numbers. So this absolute value inequality has no solution. Since there is no solution, there's no set builder or interval notation to write because those notations represent the solution, and in this example we have just no solution.